You're watching Truth versus Hype. The monsoons have come, but they've come late. Water is scarce for drinking and for agriculture. The politicians, as always, will blame the rain gods. But, as we shall see, the anatomy of India's water crisis is entirely man-made. Whether it's a mega dam project in Andhra Pradesh, which might turn out to be a mega scam, of how a manufactured water crisis in a city like Mumbai is used to justify the building of dams in lush forested areas on its outskirts, and how the water scarcity in Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat might have less to do with the rain gods, more to do with the need to ensure uninterrupted power supply to voters during election time. Of all the states where rainfall is falling short, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat are amongst the worst hit. According to the Met Department, rainfall fell short in Madhya Pradesh by 60%. In central Gujarat, it was down to 90%. It is now that the mega dams along the Narmada River, Indira Sagar, Omkareshwar, Sardar Sarovar, are meant to come to the people's rescue. But today, water levels in the Indira Sagar Dam down to 7%, Sardar Sarovar down to 25%. The reasons for the shortfall goes back to the crucial months leading up to the summer, when these dams should have been thinking hard of the choices between generating power and conserving water. But this was also the time when election season was picking up steam, and they chose to crank out power, 725 million units between the period of February and April, which is 3 times higher than normal. To some, this kind of power surge before elections is not unusual.
See, during elections, because politicians would ensure that the people are happy and they want to ensure maximum power to the people. And in that endeavor, this is a very easy instrument in their hand, completely in their hand. And they have been using it repeatedly.
So who would have taken the decision to order the release of Narmada water?
The thing is that the responsibility is divided. So, for example, in case of Indira Sagar and Omkareshwar project, the responsibility is of both NHPC and state government, and for the immediate responsibility. And in case of Sardar Sarovar, the immediate responsibility is that of Gujarat, because they operate the Sardar Sarovar dam, and the 3 states of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat, who share the benefits of power benefits. But because there is a oversight monitoring responsibility with the Narmada Control Authority, which is chaired by the Secretary Ministry of Water Resources, they have also equal responsible, particularly in view of the fact that they are supposed to take a larger view.
We tried to contact each of those responsible. NHDC, which oversees the Omkareshwar and Indira Sagar dams, said the decision is political.
It is as per the decision of the state government how to utilize the water, whether it is utilized for the power generation or irrigation or the drinking water. Since this is mother reservoir and downstream of Indira Sagar, so many people, so many cities are taking the water for drinking water, and upstream is also drinking water and irrigation both.
The Narmada Control Authority, which oversees the Sardar Sarovar Dam, responded saying the generation was higher this year since water made available was much higher. Even if there was excess water, it's unclear why so much of it was allowed to go waste, given that by February of this year, several internationally reputed forecasters had warned of drought in India because of the return of the El Niño phenomenon. Alarm bells that should have led to greater prudence, but instead, short-term political gains seem to have carried the day. To this, the NCA said, regarding the apprehension of deficit monsoon, it was taken into account and the generation was stopped from 3rd June 2014. But by 3rd June, there was no water left in the dams. The Gujarat government is said to have a major say in Sardar Sarovar. Jainarayan Vyas, former Narmada minister in the Gujarat government, didn't rule out political pressure to generate more power.
I would say to an extent that the state governments, even within whatever base resources they have at their command, would like to see that their state is not adversely affected because of the election time and the public opinion turning against them. The best example, if you look at Uttar Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, all of a sudden, the elections were over, started experiencing acute power shortages. So I to an extent I would agree with you that there is a substance that the governments would draw all resources that they have to see that the power front remains comfortable.
But he said excessive dependence on hydel power may have been because of the coal crisis.
I think coal supply is again an issue. You know, I came across about a month back, there was a discussion in which I participated, which had clearly shown that about 58 thermal power stations, most of them were running on the coal supplies which were less than 7 days requirement. Now, if that is the situation and the coal availability gets suddenly under pressure, I think thermal power stations beyond a point will be a difficult scenario to rely upon.
But when we checked with NTPC, India's main thermal power supplier, they said there was no shortage of coal in those months. In fact, data reveals the same trend at the Bhakra-Nangal mega dam projects before the 2009 Lok Sabha elections.
Between February and June 2009, the Bhakra-Nangal dams produced about 4,000 million units of power, which was 16% higher than the previous year. As a result, their storage capacity fell from 48% in February down to only about 7% in June.
As with this year, by a coincidence, 2009 was also a drought year. But by choosing excess power for voters instead of prudence, the farmers of Punjab were denied water.
नहीं ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. देखो जो पावर की बात आप बोलते हैं, पावर के लिए हम सारी ये लड़ाई लड़ रहे हैं. पावर भी पंजाब को चाहिए और इरिगेशन के लिए भी चाहिए. बात तो ये है ना, ये कोई ऐसी बात नहीं भी हम जानबूझ के वो कर रहे हैं. ये तो सारी जो प्रॉब्लम आई है, अगर बारिश अच्छी पड़ जाती, ये पानी की कमी आनी नहीं थी.
Three hours east of Mumbai, this is the monsoon-drenched landscape that will soon be drowned to bring water to a thirsty city.
So this wall that you are seeing?
Work has already begun on the Kalu Dam, one of the 12 new dams meant for the greater Mumbai region that will together submerge 22,000 hectares, displace nearly 40,000 people. But at Kalu, there is a growing resistance led by a local activist, uniting both wealthy farmers and tribal communities.
पूरा डूबेगा, हमारा खेती घर सब बुड़ेगा.
आप उसके खिलाफ हैं?
हाँ पूरा.
अगर ये जो कहते हैं कि हमको पानी चाहिए, मुंबई को पानी चाहिए, थाने को पानी चाहिए, इसीलिए हम यहाँ बना रहे हैं, तो उसके बारे में आप क्या कहेंगे?
हम क्या कर रहे हैं? अरे एवढी जमीन गेली तर मग आम्ही कुठं जगायचं, काय करायचं? शिवाय मातृभूमी आहे आपली. मातृभूमी गेली तर दुसऱ्या ठिकाणी गेलो तर आपली किती खेलते ती मावशीच.
तो आप क्या ऐसा कह रहे हैं कि यहाँ मत बनाओ, हम आपको ऐसी जगह देंगे जहाँ बना सकते हो डैम, जिससे लोग नहीं डिस्प्लेस होंगे, ऐसा बराबर?
वो तो हम तो बोला था ना,
क्या
हमने 3 साइड दिया था. अच्छा, छोटे छोटे का, वो नदी का पानी चालू रहेगा, इसलिए तुम मुंबई का पानी लेके जाओ. हम पानी को कुछ तो ये नहीं करते ही, लोगों को पानी दो, पर तुम हमारा बाहर भेज के पानी मत दो.
आपने दिया था बाकी साइड छोटा?
बाकी साइड दिखाया था मैंने.
फिर क्या बोले
वो दिख के गया, कुछ बोला नहीं, ये काम चालू किया उसने.
On paper, the government claims the villagers had agreed. तो जो उन्होंने बोला है कि यहाँ ग्राम सभा किया है, सब गांव वालों ने हाँ बोला है, ऐसा है कुछ?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं. विरोध है.
पूरा विरोध है.
हाँ पूरा विरोध. ग्राम पंचायतीला पूरा विरोध आहे. ठराव दिलेला पूरा विरोध.
पूरा विरोध है.
आणि ठराव भी दिएगा हम कि आम्हाला हे बंधारा नको है.
A video of the Gram Sabha held to get villagers' consent shows that the villagers indeed did say no.
आणि ती प्रत्येक ठिकाणी आता जे काही बरेचशा ग्रामसभा झाल्या आणि त्याच्यामधून ती व्यक्त झालेली आहे की हे धरणच नको, पुनर्वसनावर आम्ही बोलायलाच तयार नाही. पुनर्वसन नकोच नको, पण हे धरण सुद्धा आम्हाला नकोच आहे.
We decided that
Activists have now taken their battle to the High Court. You've got a stay?
Yes, we've got a stay from the 1st of March 2012
on the dam.
On the dam, but before that, this much work is done without any legal compliances. and that was the basis of the stay.
So we're right in the middle of the submergence area of the proposed Kalu Dam, and it's quite clear what the human and environmental consequences of all these dams is going to be. But what makes these dams all the more contentious is that it's not entirely clear whether Mumbai has a water shortage to begin with. This week, citing delayed monsoons as a reason, the city declared water cuts.
This situation.
Proof, we are told by city officials, that Mumbai doesn't have enough water. Is Mumbai short of water?
Yes, as of today, Mumbai is short of water.
The reason, we are told, lies mainly here in what are known as illegal slums that came up after the 1995 cut-off. The city doesn't give them water, and so they have to queue up for water, often from stolen connections.
पानी का पाइपलाइन होने के वजह से
हाँ होने के वजह से भी नहीं आ रहा, बावजूद भी पानी नहीं आ रहा
और खरीदना पड़ रहा है।
हाँ, खरीदना पड़ रहा पानी।
पानी है नहीं तो नहीं दे।
पानी की तकलीफ हो
पानी का बहुत तकलीफ है, साइकिल पे लाना पड़ता है, चिक्कड़ बहुत है।
आप खरीद के लाते हैं पानी?
हाँ, 5 रुपए केन।
कितने में?
5 रुपए के केन, 20 रुपए का 4 केन।
Officials say theft is responsible for the huge amount of water Mumbai wastes every day.
It varies from municipality to municipality and from area to area, but I would say it would be around 30%.
30%
by and large, yes.
That's a huge number, isn't it, sir?
It is a huge number, but the difference is this: whether this 30% is entirely lost in, let's say, it goes down the drain, or it is used, tapped unauthorizedly by people.
Now, with elections looming, they will officially be given water. It is to meet their needs and end wastage that Mumbai needs dams.
By floating population, I mean people who come to work here and go back. That is almost 35 to 40 lakh people, 45 lakh people who come to Mumbai and work and go back to suburbs, that is outside Mumbai. So we have to account for that also.
The reality is different. The poor only consume 70 million litres a day. The new dams will provide more than 3,000 MLD.
Now, even if one were to say that they are getting supplied water, it can't be very much water. Totally, of this 1,000 millilitres MLD which is getting wasted, how much would be the slum?
It's 75 million litre or 100 million litre per day.
That's it?
That's it. That's
so
the water.
It's about 10% of the total wastage.
The daily water allotted to high-rises is double the average of most countries. The per person, or what we call per capita allotment, is almost in a city like Mumbai 260 litres a day, which is in certain areas.
Yes.
But that's very, very high. Internationally, it's almost double.
Yes, if you compare it with many of the Western countries, it is high. But because of various cultural reasons, the usage of water is more in Indian conditions as compared to the colder countries where it is less.
Moreover, Mumbai's aging pipeline network is the real culprit for water loss.
We have some rough estimates, would be about 20 to 22%, which would be leaking out.
Leaking out?
Yeah.
Because the quality of what? The pipelines are poor? Or
there are pipelines are old at many places.
Right.
And leakages do happen because of that.
But why don't you fix that? You have a lot of money.
We have a program to fix this.
Lack of funds cannot be an excuse. Mumbai's water department is one of the wealthiest in the country.
Yeah, so the entire budget with revenue and capital taken together is about 3,000 crores. We earn some surplus, about 300 to 400 crores.
You are earning 300 to 400 crores a year.
Yes.
As surplus, which is a
which we put it, plow it back.
And yet city officials concede every attempt at better water management, from rainwater harvesting to sewage treatment, has failed.
See, after we made rainwater harvesting compulsory, we have got about more than 3,000 buildings where rainwater harvesting in some form has been done. These are private buildings.
That's and a very small number compared to the size of Mumbai.
Yeah, and 200 municipal buildings where we have done it.
That's it.
Yeah, so it has not really taken off as it was thought it would take off.
If you took a rough calculation, back of the envelope calculation of the rainwater
which falls on the city, you will probably get about 500-600 MLD from the rooftops and around the same with the runoff.
How much water is being recycled
At
by all
present-
these
At
different
present,
municipalities?
it's very little.
Virtually none.
Well, negligible,
Negligible.
quantity, but whatever recycling is done is largely in organized sector like industries.
So why the hunger for more dams? In the villages around the Kadu dam site, they see a connection to the local political economy. The local MLA is a member of the Konkan Irrigation Authority.
नहीं वो तो उपाध्यक्ष है ना उपाध्यक्ष किसका किशन जी कतोरे कोकन पाट बंदर
वही
अच्छा जो डैम कॉर्पोरेशन है कोंकण का वो उसी का खुद यहाँ का एमएलए उसका उपाध्यक्ष है
हाँ उपाध्यक्ष
अच्छा तो फिर वो तो सपोर्ट करेगा डैम को
Just one company, FA Constructions, has got the contracts for most of the dams coming up around Mumbai, a fact that came to light during what is known as the dam scam.
We knew about their political links during the last dam scam, very closely linked with the ruling party and the Water Resources Department and the ministers also. And what has happened with FA Enterprises and FA Constructions is it is the same firm. They just have two different names, but it's actually the same firm.
How much water is...
When we persisted, the head of Mumbai's Metropolitan Development Authority, the nodal body for the city and its suburbs, accepts that dams are not the solution.
Well, if there is no other alternative, one has to go for that, but there are serious environmental issues, whether it's a forest land or it's a rehabilitation of people. There are a large number of villages which have to be shifted.
You're conceding that. I mean, you're accepting that those are serious issues.
Yeah, there are serious issues, and therefore one has to concentrate on how we can manage our water, how we can manage a demand rather than keep on supplying water, because it's not an unlimited quantity. It comes at a huge cost.
But there is no rollback on the dams already commissioned. To this, the villagers have an answer.
मग आम्ही इथंच मरू ना मग काय होईल त्या आमचं म्हणणं आम्ही उठणारी नाही आणि बंधाऱ्याला विरोध करणार बंधारा वाहू देणार नाही
बंधारा डुबू काय मला तर शेवटी बंधारा नको आहे आम्हाला असा आम्ही जाणार कुठं काय आमची आदिवासी जो भाग होता आमच्या आई वडिलांनी कंदमुळ्या खाऊन जगावला आणि आता जरी शेवटी आम्ही जर केला तर आम्ही पूर्ण आमच्या मुलांचा हाल होतील असे हे डॅम नको आहे आम्हाला बोले डॅम व्हायच्या आधी आम्हाला मरण आलं तरी चालेल पण हे धरण नको आहे.
Coming up, my colleague Uma Sudhir reports on how for the newly created states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, the water crisis might actually be a mega scam.